welcome back po. Welcome back to LIRA in Law. I'm your host, Lira Simon Kabatbat. I am a practicing solicitor of over 3 decades now. Gosh, over 3 decades. In London, with Douglas Simon Solicitors. My firm has also been ongoing now. Well over, actually, we're knocking on to nearly, I think, 3 decades also. So mas matanda ako sa opisina. There you go. Mas matanda ako as against compared to a lot of people anyway. But anyway, so ang pag-uusapan po natin nga ngayon is this House Bill 9349. Yung I was going to say nickname po, but that's what I like to refer to it. House Bill 9349, which is otherwise what Absolute Divorce Act. This was introduced in Congress nga, and it's gone through Congress. So let's let me not go, skip too many steps. So unang-una nga, 22nd of May, so last week, a little over a week ago, Philippine House of Representatives, Congress natin, passed the third and final reading of the proposed Absolute Divorce Act, yung natawag nga, otherwise known as House Bill 9349. Okay. Now, unang-una po, and I've had this actually, itong topic na to, I actually chose it dahil nga I've had quite a few people say, oh, may divorce na tayo sa atin. Hindi po yung tama. Okay? So, kung tanungin niyo ako, as a lot of my clients have, is there now a divorce in the Philippines? No. There's no divorce in the Philippines. Yun ang una. Okay? But it could be that there's a change and there may be divorce in the Philippines. So titingnan nga natin. This is not the first time, that a bill has gone through Congress nga and to the third and final reading, and then wala naman nangyari. When it then went up to the Senate, it didn't get through. So it's ito po, there's a lot of excitement around it by comparison to say the yung 2018 bill nga, maybe because of if you like, the personalities that make up the Senate, and the Congress, and the government generally. There's excitement. Ako nga din of course I was around already in 2018. But I didn't get the same kind of you didn't get, I certainly did not get the same feeling of if you like, encouragement. It seems that there's some quite a lot of willingness at the moment, at least, to pass this. So tingnan nga natin. I mean, look, hindi din nga natin, of course, pag-uusapan the rights and wrongs of it. That's we will all have different views, no doubt, varying degrees, and that can be a discussion for another time. But hindi nga ngayon. But titingnan natin. It's still cool. If you agree with it or not, it's still worth looking at, and we cannot look at everything. Napakahaba. It's 27 pages. Actually, I have it here. I printed it out. So ito po, but it's quite long. Kapal nga nito, and I've gone through it. So for you, I'm going to do the highlights, okay? So it's a bit like you're in films. We're going to do the highlights, the trailers nga. So certain points that may be of particular interest nga to you, especially kung nandito nga kayo sa London or indeed abroad, or anywhere else abroad, Canada, US, Australia. So let me look at highlights. So babasahin ko nga yung anong nandito sa in the bill, the House Bill 9349. Tapos pag-usapan natin. So okay, now the grounds. There are a number of grounds that are noted, but I'll just read to you some of them. So grounds for divorce that's proposed, separation. So ito po, this is actually from the bill itself. So babasahin ko ngayon. So sabi nila, separation of the spouses, in fact, for at least 5 years at the time of the petition for absolute divorce is filed, and reconciliation is highly improbable. So it's one of the grounds. And then another ground is irreconcilable differences. Now, it's interesting that, no, that oftentimes, actually the UK also, no, until 2022, when the no-fault divorce was introduced in the United Kingdom, most of the grounds that show, or most of the facts that show that would prove or show that the marriage is irretrievably broken down, no, pre-2022, were blame grounds. So now, that causes all sorts of problems, blame grounds. Dahil ibig sabihin, binibintangan nyo yung asawa nyo nga, baka sabihin nila, hindi ko naman aaminin yung back to aminin, kayo may proof na, ikaw may kasalanan. So it already sets up, if you like, bad feeling between the parties. So itong sabi nga nila, separation of the spouses. In fact, no, so talaga, no, real separation, no, of at least 5 years, and that and yung another ground is irreconcilable differences. It introduces a kind of no fault element to the bill, to House Bill 9349. So matagal na kayong hiwalay, and I have a few clients like that, or talagang hindi kayo nakakaintindihan, irreconcilable differences, then it could be you can use that to show to start your proceedings if it becomes law under this, which is good. It's the less mudslinging. Frankly, I think also as a family solicitor, the better. Now, there are other highlights. So let me just read it to you again. So mandates the conduct of summary judicial proceedings, which may be filed individually or jointly by the concerned spouses. Okay, in some circumstances. So basically, in some cases, with some grounds, you can have a joint petition. Again, it underlines the kind of no fault, no blame element to this bill, which again would be good. It's like it's encouraging people to say, okay, why don't you do it jointly? No, in some cases you can. And by the way, the joint petitions, that was mentioned here, that was not actually introduced under English law until did not come into play in English law until the 22nd of April 2022. So only 2 years ago. But ngayon na, you can petition jointly actually for divorce in the UK. So it's, but that's fairly recent. Now, let me read to you also another highlight nga, and this I find quite exciting. Right? When I read this, I read it again and read it again. I'm that excited about it. So the bill says recognizes the validity of foreign divorce decree secured by either the alien or Filipino spouse, provided it is authenticated by the Philippine consul in or proximately to the foreign country where it was secured, and subsequently registered with the proper civil registry in the Philippines or in the Philippine consulate where the Filipino spouse is residing. I'll tell you why I'm excited about that. Now, kung nandito kayo nakatira, and there are many of us Filipinos nga living abroad. Hindi nga lang sa, of course, hindi nga lang sa UK, but anywhere. What is often baffling and worrying actually, for certain mga kliyente ko is they can obtain a divorce in the United Kingdom. Dahil dito na nakatira, kahit hindi dito sila kinasal, pwede pa rin, mag-divorce nga dito. They get the divorce, they do it quite properly, they serve the documents nga. It could even be that the spouse agrees, so all the proper process under English law is followed. Okay, so the divorce is valid in the United Kingdom and frankly and everywhere, but not the Philippines. Kung Filipino ka, ito, if it passes that bit there, so recognizes the validity of foreign divorce decree secured by either the alien or Filipino spouse, provided it is authenticated by the Philippine consul, for example. And then there are other ways of authenticating it. That's exciting. Dahil kung ang ibig sabihin, kung dito kayo mag-divorce and then you want it recognized in the Philippines, gusto niyo magkasal nga sa atin, let's say, and whoever, no, ikaw o yung asawa niyo nga sa atin, this section specifically acknowledges it, which would be, I mean, it's a game changer for a lot of people. Then, of course, also it goes the problems that can come about kung divorce nga kayo dito, walang divorce nga sa atin, not even recognized nga sa atin. The problems range really. It can be immigration, it could be children, it could be money. No, a lot of the times it is money. Because it's mayroon ako mga conjugal properties nga sa atin, for example, no, how's that going to be dealt with? And absolutely, immigration is also a concern. No? Kung dito nga kayo kasal, hindi nga kayo kasal sa atin, that means that your marriage in the United Kingdom is not recognized in the Philippines. So kung gusto nyo umuwi sa atin, kasama yung asawa nyo, what would happen then? No? Because they're not, strictly speaking, regarded as spouse. So it is this, especially this section here, is the one I'm particularly excited about. Now, that's not the end of it. So let's move on. Let's have a look at the highlights now, further. So let me read it to you. So directs, this is another one from the bill, directs the proper court to prioritize the hearing of overseas Filipino petitioner, and the family court shall set the reception of evidence upon availability of the petitioner for not more than 2 consecutive days. Now, I'm excited about this also, but not for the reason that you may think, right? So, sabi nga dito, prioritizing Filipino, overseas Filipino petitioner, okay? Why they're being prioritized, maybe it's a practical thing, practical reason siguro. That if you're Filipino living abroad nga, dito ka nagtatrabaho, it could be that you're here on employment, for example, hindi ka pwede matagalan nga sa atin. So they're probably looking at, well, it is to deal with the convenience and the cost, no? Dahil mahal nga pamasahe sa atin. And then it may be that you, at least presently, that you're expected to stay there to wait for hearings nga. So this one takes, I think that's probably the reason for it, the rationale behind it, the prioritizing, no? Sabi nga, to prioritize the hearing of overseas Filipino petitioner, and the family court shall set the reception of evidence, ganon, no? Now, it's, but I'm more excited about it, not necessarily because of the prioritizing. This section refers to Filipino petitioner. And frankly, nung una kong binasa to, I missed that bit. Second or third time reading, I thought, that's a Filipino petitioner. And that is when I thought, okay. And this is my presumption. And I think I would imagine I'm correct, no? I suspect it will mirror the residency requirement for annulment, no? Sa atin nga, alam niyo naman, annulment nga lang sa atin, no? So annulment sa atin provides, understand that a petition can be made by a Filipino living abroad, okay, if the respondent's spouse is has lived in a Philippine city. It's to do with where you issue proceedings nga 6 months before filing. Okay, so kahit dito kayo nakatira, you can petition for an annulment nga sa atin as long as nandun nga asawa nyo, and you issue in the right, if you like, in the right city nga. So it's it means, and this is why I'm excited nga about it. It means that it allows you, sabihin natin nandito na kayo, no? Nandito na kayo nakatira. Hindi kayo basta-basta makauwi nga sa atin. That means you can actually petition for divorce whilst you're in the United Kingdom, to terminate your marriage that happened nga in the Philippines. No? But now, bear in mind, I'm excited about it because that obviously allows another option. Pero kung dito na nga kayo nakatira, so you're what's called habitually resident in the United Kingdom, regardless nga kung ang status nyo, it could be that you can petition in the UK anyway. Okay, pero that's I think that's next week's topic, no? So it is, but this of course gives another option, no? So a Filipino petitioner, so specifically says that you can, no, be a petitioner even though you are abroad. Now it then goes on to say this bill provides for the protection of the spouse's respective legitimate termination and liquidation of the conjugal partnership of gains or the absolute community and alimony for the aggrieved or innocent spouse. Lots of words, but it basically allows, like it does here, division of matrimonial assets, no? So ibig sabihin nga din, it allows also for possible maintenance between spouses. But hindi nga lang po yung magkaasawa. Rightly, it also looks at this act, or this bill rather, will also be able to, or would be looking at children, no? And again, this is from the bill. So it gives precedence to the care and custody of minor children, subject to the provisions of Article 213 of the Family Code, okay, of the Philippines, taking into primary consideration no child under 7, all of that, no, to do with custody of children. But titingnan nga din nila, as they do here, the primary consideration be that of children, saan sila titira. So I suspect it will be very similar to how it is in the UK. The primary consideration is that of children in the event of divorce proceedings, for example, nga, titingnan nga ng korte yun, saan sila titira, sino, how is maintenance gonna happen, saan sila mag-aaral, no, is the house going to, will the house be sold in order to finance another house maybe, or is it the case na hindi nga pwedeng ibenta yung bahay dahil doon nga sila titira muna until such time na lumaki na nga sila, they go to university, and how's that going to be funded, ganoon, you see? So it's they will, and rightly so, this bill also directs that the court must look at children's best interest, you know? And as I say, rightly so. Now, so there are those are only some of the highlights of the bill, of House Bill 9349. No, there are quite a lot more. I mean, it's 27 pages. Now, but I've chosen those because they are particularly, I think, interesting kung nandito nga kayo nakatira o nasa abroad nga kayo, and you it is unfortunately na your relationship is finished, ang mangyayari. But bear in mind again, I go back to the same thing, hindi pa po to batas, no? It is very much, I'm not even sure we're halfway there, no? But at least it's moving, and for some, it's also in Congress, no. It's a difficult issue. Ayaw nga nila because there's argument about how it's going to affect the family. For some, they say, well, actually, it's high time, ganon. But as I've said, hindi nga, that's a discussion for another time. But at the moment, kung mangyayari nga ito, there are clearly highlights that will affect potentially advantageously, no, kung dito nga kayo nakatira, and you have connections nga in the Philippines, or indeed that something has happened as a relationship nyo. So it potentially gives people, Filipinos nga, a few more options, no, which at the moment may not be possible. At saka it also simplifies, not quite the right word, no, but it aligns issues. Yung nga an issue that is very difficult to explain to people is, yeah, you can be divorced here. You've gone through all the process, you divorce, you can remarry in the United Kingdom because the divorce is of course valid. But walang pero problema yun sa Pilipinas, no? Unless of course you make an application for recognition of a decree of divorce, but actually that's one of the questions later on, so no, tune in for that, no. So it's not it's really a potentially advantageous, no, bill which may well be an act. So I would say siguro maybe we're halfway there. So tingnan natin what else needs to happen. Okay, what stage is it of the bill? Yun nga, sabi ko, it's received in Congress nga the third and final reading. It's not the first bill where that has happened. That's looking to introduce divorce. There was only one before in 2018 nga, as I said. Wala namang nangyari doon. So tignan natin. I don't know whether it will proceed. It may well be that it does. Maybe there's a different kind of appetite now, no, for divorce nga in the Philippines. Apart from the Vatican, we're the only country in the whole world, no, that do not have divorce. But tingnan nga natin. So it went through Congress. Next step for House Bill 9349 is to go to the Senate. No, if it gets passed by the Senate, babasahin ko yung actually this is something from again a legal write-up, no, but it was actually quite nicely summarized. I'll give you the reference nga. So it's called it's from legacy.senate.gov Philippines, no, PH, no. So sabi nila ito, a final copy of the bill. So this is the next bit now. So let's say you went through Senate, it was passed by Senate. The final copy of the bill, known as the enrolled bill, shall be printed, sabi nila, and certified as correct by the Secretary of State and the Secretary General of the House of Parliament of Representatives, after which it will be signed by the Speaker of the House and the Senate President. A bill may become law even without the President's signature. If the President does not sign a bill within 30 days from receipt in his office, a bill may also become a law without the President's signature if Congress overrides the presidential veto by 2/3 vote. So basically, Senate muna, pass through Senate. It will also require readings not there, and then if both houses then agree and pass it, then it goes nga to the President, no, for signature. So it is so it goes to Malacanang. Now it is as I say, we're probably halfway there. I mean, you probably have more knowledge nga about, you know, the workings of the Congress and then the Senate nga. But if it's comparable at all nga to the UK, it's likely to be a slow process. So kung ang sitwasyon nyo is you're looking to end your marriage and you want to see nga about either with divorce, I wouldn't wait for this at this stage. Una nga, hindi pa po ito batas, but it's certainly interesting enough to go through it. And I am, as you probably gather, no, for some of my clients, I think this will be very helpful, and I think it will align, you know, certain things that has needed aligning for a long time. So tingnan natin kung ano mangyayari, but at least potentially this gives options nga. So you know, I will continue absolutely to update you, and I will also be writing an article about this. So kung gusto niyo makita yung article ko, happy to email you a copy. It will also be printed nga, so in one of the papers. So hopefully nga it's helpful and it's of interest nga. But this is just the first topic nga natin, no, in our four-part series, limited series. I think that's what how the films how Netflix describe it. So it's a limited series, 4 parts, no. Una nga, no, is there divorce in the Philippines? No, it's a quick answer, but it's interesting. 1 week ago, 22nd of May, it passed through Congress. No? Tingnan natin. There was only one time in 2018 where that happened. Maybe there's more appetite for it now. So tingnan nga natin. I suspect if it passes nga, or probably won't be substantially acted on until, I would imagine, towards the end of the year, no, given everything that needs to be done. But let's see. So yun na nga unang topic natin. And then, of course, next week, we'll be looking at, again, second part of our topic, the marriage nga and divorce, and that is, if you married in the Philippines, can you divorce in the United Kingdom? No, and so hopefully the topics are of interest to you, and that it's also helpful. Pero kung meron kayong mga questions, meron kayong mga comments, feel free, of course, to email me, LIRA in Law. I'll show you yung email ko mamaya. So it's exciting, actually. I mean, when I read it, I had to read it again because I thought, oh, wow, okay, it's quite far-reaching. Let's see what happens. Anyway, hopefully that was interesting for you. It certainly was interesting for me, because as I say, I kind of shy away from multi-jurisdictional issues that are so complex. But in doing it this way, hopefully we can give it justice by having enough detail so that it makes sense. Right. Okay. So we are now at our my favorite segment. Section nga, yung tanungan, tanungan mamaya, batian rather. So it's people who've been kind enough nga to watch me and to keep me company